Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Project Evo 722. Before we get started, this episode is going to be about what a lot of people are calling government overreach. And I'm inclined to agree. Um, is the government killing our cars on purpose? Maybe. Or are they just not informed enough? We're going to go into the things that the government has been doing that they've been passing for legalization and stuff that they are making illegal for us to do to our cars, and get into some of the stuff that they're also doing in the industry. And we're going to go over some of these things, and then we're going to go from there, and we're going to go into what the car community is doing to fight back against this. Before we get really deep into this thing, I want to do a special thank you to our sponsor, Overtake.com. They are your one-stop shop for some basic Subaru mods. If you're looking, they sell anything from suspension bushings to powertrain bushings to under the hood dress up. Just swing on over, say hi to Art and the boys, and they'll hook you up with some good stuff. All right, on with the video here. So basically, over the last couple years, the federal government has been adding some things in with the vehicles that really is kind of hindering, let's say, at some point lifespan, and then also, I think, in my opinion, hindering the driver's skill and control at this point, which I think is can or may cause more accidents in the future because people are just being careless. We're gonna get into the one thing, which is a big thing, is in the EPA with this whole fuel economy emissions BS going on here. And the big thing that's a problem with that is you see these car companies, and the only way they can keep up with this is using thinner and thinner oils to lubricate the vehicles. I mean, yes, they are full synthetic. They do say you can get further out on oil changes with some of this stuff. But if you look at it realistically, like, I'm working at a dealership where we have customers that bring their vehicles in that have higher mileage on it, like 90,000, 150,000. And we see customers' cars burning oil at less, like maybe the cars may be like 8 years old, and they're burning oil at like 60,000 miles or 90,000 miles, to the point where like their lights coming on before their 6,000 mile oil change. And back when they're using 530 full synthetic or conventional, you really didn't see that much until the cars were up much higher mileage. And the oils are thinning. You're getting more carbon buildup on stuff because they're having to go to direct injection, and the valves aren't getting clean. So, I mean, in essence, it's costing more to maintenance these vehicles now than it would normally back in the day, because your valves aren't cleaning themselves. The lubrication's not there. You're basically using fucking water to lubricate these cars. It's just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. And that's coming from someone that used to be a technician and then now is behind a desk. But like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And we'll move on to some other stuff where you're looking at safety issues. And one of the big things about these safety issues is you have all these advanced driver assists going on. Like, I understand the lane departure and the lane avoidance, and I understand the blind spot detection. I think those are great. But where it comes into issues is I've had customers come in where the cameras for your auto braking or anti-collision braking can't tell the difference between a freaking box on the side of the road or something in the middle of the road, and it's applying brakes when the car's not off the side of the road. It doesn't make any sense, and it's honestly, it could be it's basically a safety issue, because if they're driving on the highway and let's say something flies in front of the windshield and the car wants to auto brake before it, and they get rear-ended from behind and cause a pileup because the car just wanted to stop and it has no driver cancellation or any type of input from the driver at that point, that's not safe at all for anybody else behind it. And the same thing with this bill that they passed in 22 that's now coming to fruition for 27, where they want the drivers to be monitored by the vehicle. And then if the drivers are not paying attention to the road, or the car doesn't deem them safe to be driving the car, the system's going to shut the car down. Well, what kind of parameters are these things looking for in the driver? Like, if the driver's like glancing off to the side of the road or something like that, is it going to just shut the car off because it can't pick up its eyes? Or like, we've run into problems at our dealership where they do the facial recognition on the vehicle, and the facial recognition can't pick you up because you have sunglasses on. Is that going to cause an issue with the car being driven or shutting the car off? Like, I get what these politicians are looking at, trying to make the road safer, but at the same time, they know jack shit about vehicles. So, like, when they drop this shit down to the engineers or to the manufacturers, I want to be in that room to see what the hell's going on, because these guys got to be trying to, like, that's not going to fucking work, because that's just going to cause more problems. Like, they're being completely dumb about it. Like, whoever's idea was it to be like, let's just go straight to EV and completely skip over the hybrid path. Like, when they went and made that move where they were like, hey, everything needs to be EV by a certain time, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen a government try to do. Because in that aspect, you're skipping a whole step in the middle. The technology's not there yet for most of these manufacturers. They don't have a huge range on these EVs. And the hybrids are still, like, I wouldn't say they're in their infancy, but they're like in adolescence yet. Like, some of the companies didn't even perfect hybrids yet. You want to go full freaking electric? That makes no sense at all. So, like, these situations that they're putting us in are just not safe. I mean, thank you to Sema for, lobbying and, putting out bills like the ADAS bill that they're putting out, so that they're giving us now. SEMA's kind of making an adjustment where, like, they need to have rules and guidelines for, like, when we go to modify these cars later in life, like if you want to put like a bike rack on it or some shit like that, like where the system's not just going to act stupid. But, like, they're also protecting our rights to be able to customize our vehicles, which, I mean, thank God for SEMA and their lobbying. Like, I know in a couple weeks here, I'll be doing a collaboration here with my buddy Matt Gold over at Drop Gear Industries. We're going to be doing some back and forth together here, talking about some of the stuff. And I know he was just down in D.C. with SEMA covering all this stuff. And that's one thing I want to get into a lot here, is that aspect. Going forward here, we have to look at this stuff, and there's some other stuff going on in the industry that I don't like either, which doesn't make any sense to me either, because it just doesn't seem like it's cost effective for anything, and or fair at that aspect. Like, I saw something out there's a bill floating around in Congress right now where they're trying to make mom and pop shops able to send their technicians at a cost, obviously, out to manufacturer specific trainings so that they can do warranty work from the manufacturers at private shops. So, but here's the problem though. The common consumer doesn't know these cars aren't all alike. Like, you can't tell me that you're going to go to and you're going to take a Tesla and it's the same thing as a Rivian. You can't tell me they're wired the same and everything's the same, right? Same thing as, like, damn well you can't go, oh, look at this Hyundai, and then go look at this, Subaru and go, oh yeah, it's the same engine, because it's not. Subaru runs a Boxer and all-wheel drive, and Hyundai runs a straight 4. Like, that's the problem you're going to have. You're going to have these guys that are, one, not seeing the vehicle enough, or the product enough, that go, oh, you're having this diag issue? Cool, I'm going to go straight to it, and oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. You're not going to have that training where you're going to have repetition on fixing the same stuff over and over. That's what you get from dealerships. That's why people go to dealerships for factory-trained technicians to fix things like this. And these are the things I'm seeing, because it's not only it's going to take money out of the dealership's pocket, take money out of the manufacturer's pocket. And yes, dealerships are expensive. But the reason you're going to dealerships is because, one, your warranty work, and two, because you want the thing fixed the first time. You don't want to keep going back to the same guy, mom and pop guy, that doesn't know what the heck he's looking at, and just throwing parts at it. It's frustrating when government puts oversight in on things and doesn't understand what the repercussions are for not just the vehicle but the consumer. And the consumers aren't paying attention enough. No offense to the plain Jane car people that aren't car guys or car girls that don't modify their stuff or don't work on their own things, that don't understand how vehicles work. They just think, oh, it's a car, and I can just drive it wherever I want to. But anyone, Joe Schmo, can fix my car. That's not how this stuff works. And yes, I do think that I'm not against private shops. I do think private shops, have their place, and I think they're good for people that can't afford to go to the dealership all the time. But at the same time, they're not supposed to be fixing major issues. And I get people can't afford brand new cars, but like, they're not supposed to be doing full engine rebuilds and stuff like that. That's stuff that you should be going to the dealership for. All right, guys, you tell me what you think. Like, follow, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. I'm going to get in more in depth in this subject a little bit later, especially when I do this collaboration here with Matty Gold over at Drop a Gear Industries. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.